Jagrata. There are just very deep universal laws, universal truths. And once you adhere to them, you learn them, you become one with them, then they are applicable at all times in every single thing you do. Focus and one-pointedness of purpose is one such universal truth. The human mind jumps like a monkey from place to place, subject to subject, thought to thought. You're not going to stop this. It is the nature of the mind. Great masters have taught this. It is the nature of the mind. Monkey mind. You have a monkey mind. Likes to jump around from tree to tree. Wherever you go, wherever you do, it may or may not go with you. It goes where it wants, when it wants. Monkey mind. It's so deep. If you realize there is nothing wrong with this. The hand has 5 fingers, the foot has 5 toes, and the mind is monkey mind. The question is not whether the mind jumps around. It is always a question of whether you go with it. Lots of things in this world are free to come and go. If you went with every one of these, you would never get anything done. You would never have any successful relationship with anybody, because every single thing comes and goes. Maybe the rain comes, you have to leave your home to go with it. Maybe the wind comes, you have to go leave all your friends and family to stay with the wind. You let all kinds of things come and go. So you let monkey mind come and go. You let it say what it needs to say. You let it jump where it needs to jump. You just let it be in accordance to its nature. If you learn to do this, you have a chance at one-pointed focus. They will erroneously teach you that before you can have one-pointed focus, your mind must become one-pointedly focused. If you have to take your mind with you, you're in big trouble. It would be like if they sit there and tell you when it's said and done, you shall have a body made of light. Let's see you turn this body into light. You're wasting your time. You understand? You leave this body the way it is. The great ones teach you, let everything be of its own nature. Let a snake be like a snake. Don't try to make a snake friendly. All right? It hisses, bites. It's a snake. Let the wind be wind, let the rain be rain. Let the mind be mind. Let the body be body. These are the deep teachings of the Tao and of Zen. If you try to change the nature of something, then you must stay there and be the guardian of that thing. Because nature cannot be the guardian. Because you have decided to impose your will and change how nature would have left it. And it takes a tremendous amount of effort to do so. So, the mind to the great being who is really practicing one-pointedness, who is practicing one-pointed focus of purpose, you do not have to take your mind with you. You set your attention, your concentration, your awareness. You look ahead at yonder star with your head tilted up. You face it, you look at it, and you walk toward it. That's one-pointed purpose. Your mind doesn't have to come with you. If you think that before you walk relentlessly toward that star, that your mind has to agree that this is what you're going to do, and that any time the mind thinks, well, maybe we need to rethink this, maybe we're not going the right way, maybe things are different than we thought they were, that means you better rethink it. You better stop and check it out. You better make sure it's that star rather than that star. You want to know what? you will never, ever get there. You will never, ever convince your mind at all times that everything stays the same and it should keep going that way. There's not a chance. There's no one that ever did in the history of the world. The mind views everything based upon relative perspectives. If you don't have it, the mind wants it. If you get it, the mind couldn't care about it. Haven't you noticed? The mind will think about absolutely nothing but that new car. Nothing. It just wants that new car. It won't stop thinking about it. Then you get the car, and in a very, very short period of time, all the mind wants to think about is what's wrong with the car. How this squeaks, and how this isn't as fast as it was supposed to be, and how this is wrong, or when can you sell it? How much can you get? I bought the wrong one. There's nothing wrong with your mind. There's not a single person in this room whose mind doesn't do that. If it's true that everybody's mind does that, what am I saying? It is the nature of mind. It's its nature. It's fine. If you lose your one-pointedness of purpose and focus as to where you're going because your mind changed, you will not get there. So it is not a matter of training the mind to maintain its focus and one-pointedness. Then you must waste all of the energy that was meant to take the journey to fight the mind. What if you kept going even if your mind changed? Oh my God, that's like inconceivable. Then how will I know I'm supposed to go there? When I started, all of me agreed that's where I was supposed to go. My heart felt that, my mind felt that. All of the forces that are aiming in that direction. You think it's going to stay that way? There's no time ever that it stayed that way. All right? In any event, it isn't like your mind has to agree. This is the hardest part for people to catch on. If you think your mind must agree, you're not going anywheres. Because it is going to keep changing. And it is going to keep changing the basis upon which it convinces you of what's going on. And you will end up keep changing direction and keep doing different things. And you will either waste all of your energy going sideways like a pendulum, back and forth, here to thither, and not use any of your Shakti, any of your force to really go somewheres. Or, if you think you're being spiritual, you will stop and fight your mind to try to stop it from going all over the place so that it doesn't waste your energy going all over the place. So you're either wasting your energy outside or you're wasting your energy inside, and this is what people do. All right? And they call it non-spiritual. Everybody just goes after whoever attracts them and whatever they feel, and they run away from what they don't like. They go, look at that person, he's caught in the world. Not me. I'm fighting my mind. I know better. I'm disciplining my mind. I'm doing this. Okay? Well, I thought we were supposed to go to yonder star. How does changing stars or deciding whether to come or go going to get me there? It's not. And how does stopping all the time to fight my mind to convince myself that that's still where I want to go? It's not. So one-pointedness of purpose is a phenomenal thing, and you want to know what? It's abnormal. It's abnormal. Human beings don't do that. Okay? They just don't do that. So the first thing you have to do, if you want to grow spiritually, really, is to practice ignoring your mind. It is going to say things to you. You must not listen. But then you sit there and say, but I listened. At one point I listened when it said to walk toward that star. Right? It's going to start to give you all that. So now I'm more mature and I grew some, so I understand more, and so therefore I should say something. Okay? Oh, you can do that with everything. Well, I got married, but when I got married I was young. And it was proper at the time, but now it worked. We've grown a little bit. We get along. I know more about love. I know different things. It's important that I find somebody more mature and so on. So therefore, it's perfectly normal to get married and divorced 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 times, 12, 15. Depends on how fast you grow. If you're growing very fast, it's lots of times. Right? So 15, 20, 30 times. You got it down very well. The mind, it's just weird what it can convince you of. It can tell you anything. There's no end to it. The first step, if you're going to go somewhere, and it's a killer, is you have to stop listening. And what that takes is a deep level of faith and surrender to realize that if you're not doing it, the wind will do it. The leaf does not have to decide when to fall off the tree, and it does not have to decide which way to fall on its way down. It doesn't have to have it thought out. The wind, the forces, will take care of this. if you are not running around hither and thither after the forces of your mind, then the forces of nature, the forces of God, the forces of harmony will take you there. And that's magic. It's what you call miracles, but it's not a miracle. It's not a miracle that that leaf falls off the tree at just the right time, is it? Because just the right time is when it's supposed to fall off the tree. And it's not a miracle how beautifully it floats and falls to the ground. That's not a miracle. But it's a heck of a lot nicer than what you could do with it, with your mechanical plotting of figuring exactly what's going to happen. It is the same thing with your life. It is not a miracle that all these things work out. It's not a miracle that all the forces show up just when they need to. It's not a miracle that the book or the people or the teachings are there just when you need them. It's not a miracle that at every step, at every point, when you are open and surrender, God shows up. It is because your mind stopped running you all around, which is out of harmony with the nature of things. The mind's nature is monkey mind. There's nothing holy about what your mind is telling you. God does not need to talk to you through monkey mind. I told God early in the journey, if you ever want to talk to me, please don't do it through my mind. The probable way that I will hear you through your mind, you might as well just talk through rocks or something. Because my mind is about the silliest place to try to communicate to me. It's crazy. All right? How will I know? That's what people say. How will I know if it's God talking? It jumps over here and then it jumps over here. And the answer is, you're absolutely right. You will not, so don't listen to any of it. Your mind is not the only way that God can talk to you. But your mind is the only thing your neurotic self is used to listening to. There's a stage in your journey, and it's a difficult one for people, where you break the hold that the mind has on you. You don't break the mind. What a difference. You break the hold that the mind has on you. It can say anything it wants. You just don't listen. You say, I'm better off walking toward that star than I am listening to this mind. Let God redirect me. I have devoted myself and shown the sincerity that I know that I cannot listen to myself to get there. So I'm not going to listen. Ooh, this is so beautiful. This is what's meant by surrender. It's different than you think. That's what's meant by not my will, but thy will. You have no right to say that if you're still following your will. If your mind is still convinced you, well, we must discriminate. We must keep this balanced. There's a worldly life and a spiritual life. Let's make sure that we're doing both. Measure it carefully. Write it all down. In other words, you're still doing it. That's not a not my will, but thy will. You got to let go of yourself. And you literally do it by standing there, and your mind is sitting there saying, oh, I don't feel right about going to that store anymore. I was wrong. I shouldn't be getting married now. I know I shouldn't be getting married now, even though it's my wedding day. Right? Lots of people's minds do that. But they still get married. See, they learned it. And if they did not have that one pointedness of purpose, there wouldn't be so many people getting married. And if everybody listened, oh, I want to have a baby. I think it's time to have a baby. And then we said, oh, you got to take care of the baby. And it poops in the diapers all the time. And then you can't travel as often as you can travel. Maybe we shouldn't have the baby. Yet, people maintain a fixity of purpose sufficiently to where marriage happens, babies happen, people go to work. Imagine how many times Einstein wanted to give up on that formula. Imagine how every time anything happens, people reach points where their mind is telling them, this is stupid, this is not going to work, this is absurd, I'm just wasting my time. Do you understand that? There's no great thing that ever happened, ever, that the person of greatness did not go through that stage. Please understand that. It is the persistence, the one-pointedness of persistence that takes you past those stages, that creates greatness. Nothing else. So basically, one-pointedness of purpose means the ability to ignore your mind and move toward that which you set, which was beyond your mind. The problem is that the mind happens to be fairly easy to work with compared to the next stage. Once you have managed to ignore your mind, the next thing you're going to have trouble with is your heart. This is not philosophy. This is guaranteed. Once you start feeling something, whoa, that seems real. If you just all of a sudden just feel this isn't right, or this is right, or I really don't like this anymore. I liked it before. Ooh, I don't like it. How do you know? My heart hurts. Or my heart is attracted or repulsed by something. All right? I guarantee you, if you listen to that, you're going nowheres. And I don't know if anybody ever told you this before, but it's time we had a person-to-person talk. Because that heart's about as fickle as the mind. That heart will open or close with a drop of a feather. Anybody notice? Unbelievable. All right? I want that car so bad. It's the most beautiful car. I've wanted it for 3 years. My heart gets all excited every time I see it. That's just so great. Then all of a sudden you open a magazine. It says, this car is better. I want that car. How long does it take? How long does it take for the heart to change, to shift? 1/1000th of a second. The only thing faster than mind is the heart. That's interesting. I know none of you have ever experienced the heart opening and closing in about 1/1000th of a second. That's about how fickle the heart is. You want to worship the heart? Have fun. There are people who worship monkey mind. It's deeper than the mind. And it is deeper than your human heart. Because your human heart can open and close, you cannot let that be what guides your ship. So, you're sitting here aiming, one-pointedly focused. Does that mean I must train my heart? Oh, heart, remain fixed. Always remain open heart. Always be devoted to who you're devoted to, and always be against what you're against. Oh, be steady heart. Okay? It's the same as the mind. You're going to sit there wasting your time trying to make that heart be a given way. The human heart has a nature. You know what its nature is? To open and close. See, monkey mind, it can go a lot of different places. Heart's a little simpler. It's binary. And it opens and closes. And there's a whole bunch of vibrations that go along with opening, and there's a whole bunch of vibrations that go along with closing. So what? That is the nature of the human heart. If you want to stay around and change that, you would be here a long time. So it's the same thing. You maintain fixity of purpose that transcends the opening and closing of the heart. Don't worry about the opening and closing of the heart. Just keep your eyes fixed on the path. You just keep your eyes absolutely, completely, one-pointedly fixed. You keep your intention fixed. The fact that your resources, the tools of mind and heart that are around you, that help you to carry out the inspiration, the thought, the direction, the fact that they cannot remain fixed, that's okay. Intention, the Buddhists teach intention. One pointed purpose. That's what intention is. And so you set your intention on something that is beyond your mind and beyond the wavering of the human heart. And you don't take it off. And you will have a struggle. The mind is strong, and it will come up with phenomenal arguments as to why you should listen to it. It's going to come up with some good stuff. And the heart, yes, indeed. Your heart to make you feel sorry for it. You keep walking. Keep on going. Just keep going. Because you're moving through a continuum of vibrations. Please understand that. One of the greatest things you have to learn to do, and we've discussed this in a different angle before, we talked about the ability to withstand the changes in the Shakti. You must be able to withstand, stand unchanged while it changes. You must be able to withstand monkey mind. You must be able to withstand fickle heart, human heart. So when these two forces are free to do their dance, and most people, they don't stand a chance. Can you see that moving around here, the mind? And you know what's terrible? If the mind would sit there saying, boy, I really hate that, this is terrible, while the heart was feeling love, at least that would be confusing. But the trouble is they always agree with each other. Almost always. And so you're standing in there and the mind is saying, God, I can't stand that. And the heart's going, right? Or, God, this is worth leaving house and home for. And the heart's going, yeah. They are in complete concurrence, these two, all right? The mental body and the emotional body vibrate very, very close to each other because the Shakti passes between both of them. And vibrations, because they're subtle bodies, the vibrations transfer very easily. So when the mind starts feeling negative, the heart feels negative, and vice versa. So now the soul is sitting in there, the consciousness is sitting in there, and it knows it's supposed to keep fixity of purpose. But the trouble is it was using mind for its fixity of purpose. So what does it mean? It means don't base it upon mind. It can't be based upon mind. And it's the same with heart, and I know that's very hard for you. It is the same with heart. It must be beyond mind, it must be beyond heart. If you say, I love you, I don't want there to be a reason, because that reason will change. And if you say, I love you, I don't want it to be because you feel open around or attracted toward, because that too will change. It all goes through its cycles, doesn't it? You've been alive long enough. It goes through its cycles. That is its nature. So when you say, I love you, or I love, or I will do this, it has to be for no reason at all, except for that's how it will be. Period. Period. Let the mind create all of its distractions, and let the heart go south. And guess what? It will still happen. It will still happen. Why? Because I pointed myself that way. And that is what it means when it says, I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. How can it be the master, enlightened master, wrote those words? Because he too walked through those stages. Do you understand that? And it isn't that it doesn't happen like that. It's that he never stopped trucking. Never. Your commitment is what matters. It is the intention of purpose that matters. Not the understanding and not the feeling. The intention of purpose. And it requires that you ignore your mind, no matter what it says to you, and that you are able to stand in the face of the open and closed heart and be completely unmoved. Give me that person who can stand in that storm and keep his wits amongst him, the one who is just focused on purpose. And don't ask me what purpose. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you are not going with the variations of mind. What matters is that you are not going with the fluctuations of heart. Even if your purpose was not completely pure or intelligent when you started, the universe will turn somersaults to make it that you end up where you belong. You will not even see how it changed. It is God's job that if you have let go of the mind as your guide, and you have let go of the heart as your guide, and you are just leaning on the absolute to guide you, with one pointedness and fixity of purpose, saying to God, you blow me to you. You pull me to you. Because I have nothing to hold on to. It does not mean there is not a mind. It does not mean there is not a heart. I float above them, holding on to nothing. Now you're free of that bondage. And the wind, the subtle winds of God, can blow you to places that are beyond your comprehension. That is fixity of purpose. You have it in your work. You have it in your relationships. You have it with your children. You have it with your sadhana. There are to be no reasons for any of these things except that that's the way you're aimed. The important point is that you will become free inside. Free of your mind. Free of your heart. And cease to be bound by these things. Now how will you do that? I told you. By standing there. You have to stand there. And if you can make deep commitments of purpose, there are deep ones. As you get clarity, there will be some lights that shine in front of you. Turn your mind to them. And though they go away, and everything inside of you changes, never ever take your eyes off of that. You make those deep, heartfelt commitments. That's all. You make them to God. It's so beautiful. And then see what changes it puts you through. It's higher than meditation. Do you understand that? It's higher than anything you can do. It will purify your being. So, we were discussing one-pointedness of purpose. Intention. You've heard that Buddhist word. Intention. It's very deep, isn't it? You work with these things and you'll free yourself from your mind and free yourself from your heart. And when the soul is no longer bound to the mind or bound to the heart, it has no more anchors. And it will float like a kite in the breeze. And the wind will come and it will blow it where it wants it to be. And God's work will be done. Jagrata.